Yo, what is up YouTube? It's your boy Zach Lesage, and we are back here with another video on the channel. So for those of you who might not know, I've been on this channel for a little while, and I've been doing some more videos that focus on, I guess, kind of like other aspects of the game or other card pools, but I really, before Worlds, wanted to focus on one of the top tier decks heading into the World Championships, and that deck is PikaRom. So this deck features some of the new cards, such as Alolan Raichu and Raichu GX, and PikaRom, it's been a deck that's seen success ever since it's come out. It's done well at multiple international championships, regional championships, and it's even won some globally as well. So realistically, we're looking at one of the most strongest and consistent decks because in our rotation, we lost a lot of cards like Ultra Ball, we lost a lot of cards like Nest Ball, but this deck remains consistent because it keeps cards like Electromagnetic Radar, and it's easily can search out cards like the Dellinger GX. So I hope that you enjoy this video. I will be playing a couple games with Michelle Babin after this, so you can see exactly how the deck works against some other high tier decks in the metagame. So let's just jump into this deck profile right now. So starting off, we're going to go with Dedenne, and we'll go in order PTCGO. So Dedenne is really, it's kind of like a consistency crutch in this deck where you want to use it for Dedenne change to draw some cards if you need to. It works really well with cards like Tapu Koko, Prism Star, because you need to get lightning energies into your discard pile. What better way is there to do it than to dump some lightning cards or lightning energy cards from your hand and use Tapu Koko, Prism Star to get them back. Beyond that, this deck does have the capability of attaching lightning energies, so it's one of the few decks in format that you can use Static Shock or even Tingly Return GX in a pinch. Now, I don't overly recommend them, but you never know when your opponent's going to have a lone basic turn 2, you already had an energy onto Dedenne GX, and you're able to knock them out very quickly. PikaRom, or Pikachu Zekrom GX, as the official title is one of the strongest GX tag team Pokemon that we have in our format. For Lightning, Full Blitz can hit for 150, and then it can power up 3 Lightning Energy cards and attach them to one of your Pokemon. So beyond getting a big attack off that can damage your opponent's Pokemon or even knock them out, you can power up 3 energies to our other Pokemon. Now, most recently, with the release of Raichu, Alolan Raichu GX, I do like powering up that Pokemon in most tag team matchups, but Pikachu Zekrom GX is a great attacker. Even if you look at the Tag Bolt GX attack, 200 damage, and if you have 6 energy total on it, you can snipe someone for 170 damage on the bench. We do expedite this with cards like Tapu Koko Prism Star, we have Thunder Mountain Prism Star, and we do have Energy Switch in this deck right here to move energies to that Pokemon and tag switch. So we do have options to power up very quickly if necessary. So next up we have Raichu and Alolan Raichu GX. 260 HP, great attacker, and this art is absolutely beautiful. So if you're a collector, I do recommend picking up this card. It is a little bit pricier, but the art is just making my heart melt here. Tandem Shock, very similar to the same Zapdos that we have in this deck. This Pokemon benefits from moving from the bench to the active Pokemon to do an additional effect. So you can do 80 plus an additional 80, and your opponent's active Pokemon is paralyzed. With cards out of our format, such as Guzma, it's difficult to get out of special conditions in this format, so Tandem Shock, more often than not, will stick if your opponent's ill-prepared for it. Now, there's only a handful of ways to get around it, like a Skateboard, Dawnwing's Necrozma GX, Switch, Tade and Liza, or maybe if your opponent's playing Green's Exploration build of their deck, they could play Mixed Herbs, but we're only talking about a handful of cards in a card pool of over 1,000 cards, I think, so it's very difficult for them to find room for all of those cards, or even any of those cards in some of their decks. Next up, we got Lightning Ride GX, Lightning Colorless Plus, so 150, and you switch it with one of your bench Pokemon. I like switching this into a Zapdos because that will kind of reduce it from being a 3 prize card Pokemon to a 1 prize card Pokemon. Getting back on the subject of Guzma being gone, it is difficult once a Pokemon is on a bench to specifically target that Pokemon. If you have at least 2 extra Lightning Energy cards attached to this Pokemon, you do basically 250 damage. With cards like Electro Power available in this deck, this card can knock out some of the new Tag Team GX Pokemon, like Umbreon Darkrai GX, Mega Sableye Tyranitar GX, and it can easily knock out Pokemon like Blacephalon GX that are also popular in this current metagame. Next up, Tapu Koko. We went over it a few times. We're really using this for Dance of the Ancients to power up our Pokemon. Normally, we like to use this Pokemon when we have 2 energies in our discard pile, but in a pinch, you could use it with only 1. We are able to search this card out via Volkner and a Pokemon Communication, which is the only way since there is no Nest Ball available in this format. Next up, Zapdos. I do have 2 copies in this deck because I do like the option to have a single prize card attacker, especially in a format where there might be some oppressive abilities towards things that are GX Pokemon, things that have abilities, etc., etc. Having a single prize card, especially against decks like Malamar, to take out some early Engays can be huge. Next up, Sciarratta GX. This Pokemon is going to give us free retreat across the board because our Pokemon have lightning energies. So you can see how this is all working out together. I rarely attack with this Pokemon nowadays, but Plasma Fist is really the only attack that I'd consider because both of Raichu's GX attack and PikaRom's Tag Bolt, they are much better than Full Voltage. And last is kind of my own spicy take on this deck is adding a Dawnwing's Necrozma GX. So I was actually, during testing, it was a moment where I was playing against a Raichu, Alolan Raichu mirror, kind of with this deck, a mirror match, and my opponent kept on using Tandem Shock, and they'd use Tandem Shock, and I'd be paralyzed, and then I'd use Tandem Shock as soon as that Pokemon got knocked down, they'd be paralyzed. So the game became very paralysis driven, and I thought to myself, can I add a skateboard into my deck? Can I add Switch? And then I kind of looked through my binder, and I was like, oh, Dawnwing's Necrozma GX would be cool because Sciarratta gives it free retreat. It also allows me to use Tandem Shock every single turn. It also allows me to kind of better manage my energies in board because once this Pokemon has an energy attached to it, you can use Invasion in any situation for the most part. It has other plays, like with Darkrai Prism Star being a very popular card in Darkrai Toolbox decks. They can use Abyssal Sleep and put you double asleep. That could basically win them the game if you were to flip at least one Tails. So Dawnwing's Necrozma gets around a lot of these special conditions and allows you to kind of be mobile in certain cases. So I think that Dawnwing's Necrozma is a great way to get around some of this stuff. You can't really attack with it at all, but it does give you a lot of options that you just otherwise would not have available to you. So in order to make the deck a little bit more consistent, moving on to the trainers, we added an Acrobikes. Works well with getting energy in the discard pile for Tapu Koko Prism Star, but it's one of those cards where it's just like, it's hit or miss. Sometimes you'll find being like, oh, there's Custom Catcher and there's an energy switch. Awesome. It's one of the things that we just have to deal with this format until we have better cards available. I could see this card eventually getting cut for other cards, or maybe even in a list where it's just like, if there's another consistency crutch card that you're interested in, maybe try that out if Acrobike's not working as well. But I do like the obvious synergy with Tapu Koko Prism Star, and it does help reach a little bit more off of a Dedenne or a Lily or something like that. Cherish Ball next up. I wanted to have a copy in order to search out something like a Dawnwing's Necrozma GX, because this deck does work on a Volkner based engine to search out cards. So you can search out a Cherish Ball and grab a Dawnwing's Necrozma. Maybe you don't want to discard cards out of your hands with Electromagnetic Radar, or it's impossible after a reset stamp. You do have the option to search that out with a Volkner and basically just grab out a Dedenne GX with virtually no cost. Next up is Custom Catcher. For those of you who haven't been paying attention, this card is like kind of like a replacement to Guzma. Not exactly, because it is kind of hard to pull off the two, but in a deck that does play Volkner and has as much kind of search and draw power as this deck, double Custom Catcher is a little bit easier than other decks such as Garchomp, Giratina, Malamar. So you can use it if you are trying to draw up to 3 cards in your hand. I have used that in a few situations. Mostly I like using this to just bring up one of my opponent's Pokemon, take out a big threat off their board, and kind of secure my game plan. So Custom Catcher is a great way to do that there. Overall, if you don't own this card, I recommend picking it up because it just continuously goes up in value as people can learn about this card. Electromagnetic Radar. So this is really to search out. If you look GX, it's searching out 8 of the Pokemon in this deck. It discards lightning energies for the Tapu Koko Prism Star. It's really a no-brainer in this deck. It can also clear clutter for late game if you're trying to play a Cynthia or a Lily, or if you're trying to grab things from a Dedenne, or if you're trying to discard cards out of your hand from Dedenne. You can have some useless GX Pokemon mid-game to late game and just get rid of them if you don't need them for a particular matchup. Electro Power, it's one of the few damage modifiers we have in the format. Luckily for us, it is working for lightning type Pokemon. So Electro Power is great to bring this from Lightning Ride from 150 to 250 and 250 to 280, so you can knock out anything. Or even using Full Blitz, knock out a Blacephalon GX. Whatever you need, it can really help you get that extra damage out there. With a deck that can power up Pokemon, with Full Blitz attaching 3 energies, you might not want to attach them all to the same Pokemon. Full Blitz forces you to do that, but Energy Switch And in a nutshell, Tag Switch does the same thing of moving energies around a little bit. So maybe you need a change of plans, or maybe you need to power up one of your GX Pokemon's attacks. So the PikaRom or the Raichu GX, as some people call it. You can move the energies around to do the extra requirements for their GX attacks, or even just powering up, moving an energy to a Dawnwing's Necrozma so that you can actively switch through your Pokemon as you feel like. Energy Switch has amazing synergy with this deck, and it's honestly just a great card. Pokemon Communication, like I was saying, it's a great way to search out Tapu Koko Prism Star, or even searching out your Dawnwing's Necrozma GX or a Zapdos, because we don't have a lot of options to search out every single card in this new format. So that's really where that card fits in. I have 2 copies just so that the second one can't be prized. Beyond that, if there was a card like Nest Ball, it would just be being played, but as of right now, we don't have that in the format. Next up is Reset Stamp. I only included 1 copy of this card because as much as it's an amazing card, kind of being like the new N or the new way to jump back into a game, quite often in my testing, I found that I was discarding another copy of Reset Stamp when I was playing upwards of 3 copies in this deck. And it's just like, if I was discarding them early game, I'd rather just have 1 so I don't really have a high chance to get it, and I could just Volkner for it late game. If it doesn't end up happening to be working in a game, I'm either winning that game or I'm losing that game regardless. So this is kind of, I viewed it more as a win more card in this deck, especially with the raw power and strength of this deck. It's one of those things where it's just like, I'm okay with the 1 copy as of right now. If you really wanted to add a second copy, maybe cutting a copy of Acrobike would be a really good idea. Stadium Nav. So a little bit of a weird card here, and I know a lot of people have been sleeping on this card. So basically you flip 2 coins, and for each head, search your deck for a Stadium card, reveal it and put it into your hand. So with Volkner, you're able to search out a Stadium Nav, and then instantly have a 75% chance of searching a Thunder Mountain, so reducing your energy costs by 1. And especially with other cards like Tapu Koko, you can often attack on the first turn of the game off of Volkner, getting some Dedenne GX out, and you can come up with this massive turn where you'd basically power up a PikaRom, go full blitz turn 1 into a Raichu or Alolan Raichu GX, and watch your opponent cry as you are winning the game. Stadium Nav is a great way to do that. It sucks that you have to flip coins. I'd rather it be like flip 10 coins and grab one, but we can only deal with the cards that we have available in our format. Flipping 2 coins is more than fair for a card of this effect, and it's been working pretty well for me. Obviously, it has a 75% chance success rate as long as your Thunder Mountain Prism Star is in deck. I did add a Lysander Labs in this deck, and we did go over Tag Switch, so we'll just jump right over into that. This is to get around other concepts such as Shedinja or Spell Tags. I really wanted to have an extra Stadium in this deck because one of just the Thunder Mountain Prism Star was too little, and I did try out Viridian Force as well, but I had no problems really searching on my energy. This is a card personally in the deck that I might want to add at least 1 more to, so that might come from cutting an Acrobike. Just shutting off Pokemon tools is great in this format, and just having an additional Stadium in this format is great to bump your opponents. Thunder Mountain, like we were saying, it's great at reducing costs. Cynthia, I did add 2 copies into this deck because I found often when I was playing this deck, I'd have cards like Custom Catcher, Reset Stamp, Electro Power in my hand, and I'd be like, okay, I don't want to play these cards in Lily. I don't want to discard these cards with the Dene. Sometimes I just want Cynthia to refresh my hand. It's a great way, especially if my opponent's trying to deck me out, that I could just shuffle things back into my hand shuffle from my hand to my deck very quickly to avoid losing a game sometimes. So I'm a big advocate for cards like Cynthia. Tayden would be obviously another great choice, especially if your Dawnwing's Necrozma is prized, so that might be something to consider in the future. But beyond that, I feel like Cynthia is just one of those strong cards, and it's been a great card for well over a year now. I don't see any reason why this deck shouldn't play it. Lily, pretty standard card here, where it's just like, you want to draw cards until you have 6. On your first turn, draw cards until you have 8. This deck quite often hits it, and if you're not hitting it, then you're playing a Volkner and getting more of a specified search. You could probably flip this count with your Cynthia if you're really interested in doing so. I don't recommend that at all because a turn 1 Lily for 8 is amazing. Sometimes you don't want to search specific things. You just want lots and lots and lots in your hand. Lily is probably the best supported card we have in the game right now. And like I said, Volkner, it works out amazing with all the Pokemon. We're searching out a Lightning Energy and an item card. Lots of item cards that are specifically tailored for situations that you'll find yourself in. So I don't see any reason why you would be upset with a card like this. And then last but not least, we got 11 Lightnings because that's the number that I determined that we need for the deck. through doing basic math and reviewing lists from past tournament successes. So this is a list that we got. Feel free to take a screenshot there. This is a list that's been working extremely well. I took a very similar list like this to a post-Worlds, or I guess post-rotation Worlds testing format event. I was able to come second place, only losing to a Alolan GX in the Ganadel deck. That's actually the deck that Michelle was able to win the tournament with. So that's all good stuff there. I think that this deck is one of the best decks heading into the World Championships, and I totally recommend that you give this deck a try. So I'm going to hop into some games against her right now. So let's see exactly how this deck fares out against an experienced player. And let's see where it really goes. So let's just jump into that right now. Follow her on Twitter at Michelle Babin TCG. So super grateful that she's helping me out film this video by playing one of the better bronze players in the game. So we'll just flip over a coin. We did film last game, so whether or not that will make it to this video or not, it was really rough on our connectivity at the end of the game. It looked like I was going to win, but we'll just play another game. So we're probably going to play a couple games throughout the entirety of this video to really see exactly where this goes. Jumping into this game, playing it on the live. Let's see what we get going on over here. So I actually got an amazing hand starting off here. And I probably just want to start with a PikaRom, because that's one of the better starts. I know that it's just not going to get knocked out. And since I'm going first, it doesn't make sense for me to bench any other Pokemon. So I'm just going to see exactly what her start has to offer. Make sure I know I'm playing against Alolan GX, but it's one of those things where I still need to play as properly as possible. Before I do anything, I'm probably just going to see what these acrobikes have to offer. Ooh, double lightning. That makes my choice really easy. I want to get lightnings in the discard pile for Tapu Koko Prism Star. Let's go another acrobike, and there is another lightning. Cool. I do want to bench some other Pokemon, so I might as well just do these so I can get a bigger Lily. Lilying for 5. I'm going to attach the active because that makes the most sense for me to do. I could retreat it with a Sciarratta. And, yeah, you want to know what? Let's go with the turn 1 Dance of the Ancients here. So that's always a really good sign. And next turn, I will be able to knock her out with a full blitz. So if she does not get a great setup, this is basically how the deck works. I'm just going to pass and see what her turn has to offer. So starting off with a Cherish Ball, she might be searching out for a Dedenne GX or maybe another Alolan GX. Maybe she's trying to discard cards out of her hands. Oh, just using a Pokemon Communication. So that's a common use of Cherish Ball in this format. Using it to grab a GX to get a Pokemon Communication out. I like that she's searching out Ditto or Poipole. Maybe her Ditto's prized or she has it in her hands. Regardless, it doesn't matter. Okay, going in with a turn 1 Welder. I'll see which Pokemon she attaches to. The bench one seems fair because she probably sees the same play that I have, where it's like a turn 1 Tapu Koko Lily for 8, and going in with a Bursting Burn. So I think her mentality of this game is going to be knocking out 2 Tag Team GX Pokemon. It seems like an okay start, but maybe the rest of her cards are supporters or beast rings. So let's jump into getting this knockout. I'm just going to go Electro Power there, and I'm going to go for a Volkner. So Volkner will allow me to search out some cards. I think I just want to grab an Electromagnetic Radar, and I can just grab another Lightning Energy. Maybe not. You can see that I have a few prized already. So let's just go for an Electromagnetic Radar. That seems more than fair. I don't really want to discard Lysander Labs, but there's not really much that I'm worried that her deck can offer in terms of stadiums. So I'm just going to discard my Lysander Labs. So even if she gets a Heat Factor in Ultra Space, I will just let her have that in play. I'm just going to grab a Zorora and a Dedenne GX. The Dedenne is going to be for next turn. Free retreat this Pokemon into this Pokemon. And as much as I'd like to get a Raichu, I wanted to have Dedenne as a backup Pokemon in my hand. So let's go for Full Blitz. I did play an Electro Power, so that will get a knockout. And search for 3 energies to attach to this PikaRom. So as of right now, I'm 1 energy with the Thunder Mountain Prism Star away from using Tag Bolt GX. Okay, so getting an Electro Power is nice, and another Dedenne. So I could have grabbed the Raichu, but I did not realize I was going to draw Dedenne out of my prize cards. So yeah, as we predicted, Ultra Space is going to bump over my Thunder Mountain Prism Star, and let's see exactly what her turn has to offer for her. Getting out a Neg, it seems like she should be able to get the knockout here. Just by, there's an energy with charging up. And let's see what this has to offer. Okay, Cynthia's a great one for her to grab. I might have personally waited afterwards, played the Ultra Space, then played the Cynthia, just to see if I would have grabbed a Neg in my hand, but obviously she has her own plan in this game, and I'm sure it's working, especially with her grabbing that Beast Energy Prism Star, or that Beast Ring. So that's powered up, so she will be able to get a knockout. And my goal next turn is basically to win the game with Tag Bolt GX, because she doesn't have a Mew on bench. She only has 2 Pokemon left, so I could actually clear out the game. It's only 3 prize cards, but she'll have no bench Pokemon. So that's the play that I'm hoping to do. I'm just going to send up... it's actually probably better for me to send up the PikaRom instead of the Zapdos in case I want to attack with Zapdos. So let's see. Let's do that. And if I can just get an energy switch, I win the game. At this point in the game, I can use an Ultra Space to grab out a Dawn Wings Necrozma. I don't see any reason of me not playing that down on my bench, because it can get me out of Bursting Burns later on in the game. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll attach my energy there. I don't really need Custom Catcher, so let's use it to just try to get an extra card. If I get a Volkner, I can just win the game. There's a Pokemon Communication, so I could save one of my Dedennes for later, and I could just waste another Pokemon out of my deck. I have Zamora. I can just grab a Raichu here. That seems cool. And now I have access to my full deck, and I haven't played a supporter. So let's see what this Dedenne has to offer for me. So I actually was not able to get out what I wanted to get out. I just didn't get a natural anything, so let's just go with an Electro Power. I didn't get a natural energy switch, but that's completely fine. Let's just go Electromagnetic Radar, or actually let's go with yeah, let's go Electromagnetic Radar, discarding these two, grabbing another single Pokemon, putting that away with the Pokemon comp to get myself a full 6 cards off Lily. So that will leave me with, I'll have 21 cards in deck, but I will draw 6 out of the 21 cards instead of 5 out of 20. So I like those odds slightly better. And there's a Lily. We got 2 energy switch and a tag switch. So we go there, move that to the active. I was surprised. For a second, I thought I clicked the wrong way on PTCGO. And let's go Tag Bolt GX, which does clear up this game. So an incredibly quick winning on the 3rd turn of the game for me. So in the next game, I will let Michelle go first. Okay, so last game, we saw that Michelle lost. So I'm going to click heads, and regardless, I'm going to let her go first. And boy, oh boy, am I getting lucky with these flips. So I'm going to click no one going first. Normally, I'd love to go first, but we're playing this out like a best 2 out of 3 for the most part. And again, this deck has an amazing start, so I'm pretty happy with all of that. I'll keep the Zeraora in the active position, and since I am going second, I do want to bench some other Pokemon here, just in case she were to play like a turn 1 reset stamp. With me only having 4 cards in hand, she is very unlikely to be playing a reset stamp against me on the 1st turn of the game, because it would allow me to draw an extra couple cards. Ooh, that's a blinked out Fun Hands. Please wait while your opponent chooses an active Pokemon. And I would love to draw an extra card, so I'll do that as well. Okay, so starting with a Poipole, not bad at all. Sometimes you can't control. Getting an Ultra Space, I'm sure she's either going to grab another Poipole or Blacephalon. So turn 1 Welder again. These starts are very scary to sit across from. So we'll see if she decides to go for another Poiple here. I think that's a great choice. She can always grab a Mew later on in the matchup if necessary, or maybe Mew's prize. And there's a Pokemon communication, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that turn into a Dedenne GX, or if she has another great supporter, either another Poiple or a Ditto or a Meowth. Or I guess even in this case it could be a Vulpix. It's really up to her whichever one she wants to go, depending on what she has prized or what her current game plan is. If it's been any of her game plans like the other games, I'm sure she's going to either be going for a Burst GX, knocking out a Tag Team, knocking out a 2 prize card GX Pokemon, or just trying to knock out 2 GX Pokemon. Here is one of those scenarios where I got a reset stamp and I don't necessarily want to play it because it would give her a shuffle and draw to 6 when she has only 2 cards in hand. I might as well go Electro Power and waste it because I don't need it too much in this matchup. I have double custom catchers, so I might as well bring up this Blacephalon GX so I can maybe get some quick damage on that, even with a Zapdos. For Ultra Space, I probably should have used that first just to check through, see what I have prized. So we can see here that I have a Dedenne prized. In terms of Pokemon, that's it. I have an Acrobike prized. I have a couple energies prized. Nothing major that we have in here that I'm upset about, but that's what we got going on. And I'm just going to go for Lily for 6. I feel like that's a great option on my first turn of the game. So, oddly enough, did not find a way to get any other Pokemon out. Like a Dedenne GX, got an extra custom catcher set, so I'm just going to put this hand down to variance. It's crazy that I wasn't able to attach an energy on the first turn of the game. I might as well just send up this Dawnwing's Necrozma as a sacrifice at this point, and here I'm just going to bench this Raichu and Alolan Raichu. So this is an awful way for me to start the game, but that's okay. I've ran pretty hot the past couple games I've played against, so we'll see exactly how it goes. Maybe I'll be able to jump back into the game, but realistically, once you give Blacephalon an extra turn, this can be huge. And with her having the Beast Energy Prism Star, being able to discard 3 energies to knock out a 2 prize card GX Pokemon, getting in the game all out, Cynthia, this definitely seems like one of those yeah, this game is pretty much over. The beginning it started, and a Vulpix to just throw in the mix there. This is why Blacephalon GX is one of the absolute best decks in the format, everyone. I'd probably hold off on that Nag GX, or that Nag, just in case I'm able to knock out that Meowth, but realistically, I don't think it even matters if I knock out this Meowth. There's not too much that I can actively do in this game to jump back in. Now, if I was her, I'd probably just discard the 3 Fire Energies, or, sorry, Lost Zone them with Mind Blown. But we'll see exactly where she's at, if she's predicting that I'm getting a knockout or not. And there's 1, 2, 3. So that's fine. She could always jump into a Burst GX next turn. Sure, she has her reasons for that. Maybe she has a Welder that she's holding on to or something like that, or could have been an oversight. Regardless, I'm going to send up Zeraora again, or actually, let's send up Raichu and Alolan Raichu GX. Let's send up Zeraora. It gives me my most options. So here I basically can't do too much. Reset Stamp is definitely a card now that I'm going to shuffle her to 4. And she had 5 cards in her hand, so that will give her 1 less card to play around with. I can go with double custom catcher. Do I want to knock out the Meowth is a big question. Let's try for it. Punish for evolving that Naganadel, I guess. Now I can go Lily to draw 2 cards, or I can go Volkner to try to get some more. Let's go for Volkner to try to get some more Lightning Energy, and let's just go for an Electromagnetic Radar. Again, awful situations call for awful measures, and this is not even a particular hand that I'm excited to see. Let's see exactly how it goes. I think my only chance is going for a PikaRom and a Dedenne, and getting some hot draws off that. I need to go Lightning Energy there. Now I can get the attack off with the Meowth, so that seems pretty good. I might as well get the attack off on the Meowth with the Zapdos because I don't want to attack with my PikaRom right now. So let's go there, move that there. and just jump in with the Dedenne GX. And Ultra Space, again, it's not going to do anything. I only have the one Dawn Wings and a Charisma GX. So in terms of what I have here, I can go Acrobike, but realistically, I don't have that many more options available to me. I'm hoping that she's not able to knock out the Zapdos this turn, but of course she could just go for a Burst GX into it. All it comes down to is what I can top deck next turn. So let's go Thunderous Assault. I've already attached. I don't need an Electro Power. That's a knockout. So maybe if I could play around her B-Strings by going into a huge next turn, that's what we got. But beyond that, I just don't see how it's possible, because I'm going to have to Dedenne GX next turn since I don't have a natural supporter in my hand, and I won't be able to get off a Tapu Koko Prism Star if I do that. So I'm looking at this and being like, this is pretty awful. Oh, and if she has that Ninetales, and that's just working out for her this game, she just has a handful of supporters or whatever it is, I just don't see how I'm ever in a good position here. This game seems like it's her game to lose, unless I get incredibly lucky. Okay. That's certainly one way to work it up. Now, I probably would have brought up Blacephalon GX here, unless you had some kind of other way to make this all work out. Just use Burst GX, but the amount of energies that she can get back with charging up doesn't necessarily matter at this point in the game. Looks like she just has an abundance of energies in her discard pile. How many is that now? Is that 3, 4? 3? And there's the Mew. So there goes my plan of getting off any kind of Tag Bolt. So no matter what I do in this game, I'm going to be feeding into a B-String turn. So that play alone is probably enough for her to win the game. See what attack she decides to use, if any, this turn. Maybe she's just going to take the turn to power up her Pokemon and just be like, just eat it. We'll see exactly how it goes. It doesn't necessarily look like it's going to be too good at all right here for me. Just going to go Ultra Space, grabbing another Naganadel. Yeah. So, I've already wasted all 4 of my custom catchers, correct? Yep. That's good to know. So I did get an energy switch, which means it is possible for me to get an attack off. She does have 4 prize cards left, so maybe this game still has an opportunity to work out. Let's go for Electro Power, energy switch. Let's go Cherish Ball. I'm really hoping for a Thunder Mountain Prism Star at this point. And me being me and completely forgetting that I prized a Dedenne here is quite awful. So all I can do is really sacrifice a Pokemon here. I should have basically done the Cherish Ball first, so that's me misplaying at my absolute best. So let's just retreat here, sacrifice the Zapdos. And that's what you get for not checking through your prize cards appropriately or forgetting something in the moment. I just wasted 2 Electro Powers for no reason. Regardless, my hand is rough and I'm facing against a brick wall of pure attacks, so that probably had some weight on my judgment as well. Happens to the best of us. So looks like her hand didn't have any more energy, so just going in there with a Cynthia. And I wouldn't be surprised to see if she just went for a Fire Energy on Blacephalon GX, went for a Burst GX this turn, especially if she was able to Cynthia into a Fire Energy. And looks like that is correct at this moment. I'm sure she's going to use Charging Up as many times as she possibly can before that happens as well. Probably using Cherish Ball to get a backup Blacephalon, or maybe another Dedenne GX if she doesn't have a supporter. And just using Ultra Space to waste more cards out of her deck. Got it. So this is definitely an opportunity to use Charging Up as many times as possible. Bursting Burn. So she decided not to go for a GX attack. I'm honestly not entirely sure why. Maybe she just wants to knock it out. Now I am able to get a Lightning Energy And I don't really think I can go for a tag switch. I also have, I believe, Stadium Nav Prize, so I can go Lightning Energy. I won't even let me get the attack off. Energy Switch. I could just go into my GX attack. And hopefully she just doesn't have it, or maybe she's wasted enough energies throughout it. That's absolutely the best thing that I can do at this point. I just hope that I can try to steal this game a little bit. So let's just go retreat here, send that up, energy switch there, and this is what I get for wasting those E-powers, because you never know what's going on in another player's play. So Tag Bolt to get the knockout. And that does take my GX attack away, but I am closer to winning this game than losing it now. And maybe I'll be able to get off like a Tapu Koko Prism Star or something next turn. Jump right back into this game. It is a possibility, especially with Raichu and Alolan Raichu GX. I feel like I'm actually at a winning pace to win this game at some point. But if she's just holding on to B strings and was just waiting on, this is kind of what I was expecting last turn. So if she did use the Burst GX last turn, she would have been able to win the game this turn. So that's one thing to note. But realistically, I don't see how she could lose the game now that she has a couple B strings out there. Just powering up her Pokemon, this is going to be a clear knockout, and then she has Burst GX the following turn. So all it was a turn that she realistically couldn't have lost the game at all, so I don't see much of an issue beyond it. So I'd maybe like a sequencing of game plan. And this is obviously a board that I just don't want to see by any means at all if I'm playing any deck in the game. Except maybe single prize cards. Even at that point, I don't even know if I could win. This is just a setup Blounce deck, and this is what Blounce does great. The Ninetales obviously replacing Guzma in the deck to just bring up Pokemon, so there's 250. And no matter what it does, I don't think I can win the game unless her other two Blacephalon GX are prized. I don't think I could even win the game beyond that. So let's send up PikaRom, because this will give me my most options. And it's impossible for me to get off my Tapu Koko Prism Star this turn, because if I play the Dena, I can't get another one on my bench. So here I just want to retreat into right. Actually, you want to know what? It doesn't matter because she just has her Burst GX. I can't do anything, so I'll just let her use her Burst GX so she could win the game. Absolutely getting destroyed here. So this is how Blacephalon GX can work, everyone. If you're wondering how it is, it's one of the best decks in our new format. So check that out. Jumping into game 3 against Michelle, who graciously offered her time. We are 1-1 in the series. I lost the coin flip, but I should be able to go first here because I won game 1, she won game 2, so we're playing it like it's a natural 2 out of 3. And this is actually one of the scariest things that we can see in any of the games, is starting with the Dene GX. So I'm sure she'll be pretty happy when she flips over. And actually, after talking to her last game, she said that it was a misclick on her behalf to use Bursting Burn instead of Burst GX. So if you were watching that, it was human error. Obviously, we're not communicating because we do live in the same household. I do have the pleasure of having a Pokemon playing girlfriend. So having a Pokemon playing significant other who lives with you is super helpful. I'm just going to use some Acrobikes here. And here is not a matchup that I'm really worried about Custom Catcher. I'm just worried about getting my stuff together. Before I play that down, because I did make some mistakes last game, I am going to go with my Acrobike again. Energy Switch seems like a much better card to grab here because I can retreat into that Dedenne, or into that PikaRom. Hopefully I can grab like an Electromagnetic Radar here, and it's like they're taking the words out of my mouth. So we got the 2 Lightning Energies in the discard pile. Starting that off, I might as well get rid of another Custom Catcher because that card is just going to be a pure waste. Let's grab some stuff out here. So let's get Zamora for free retreat, and let's go for a Raichu. So we got basically the whole squad here of the cards that I want. So what looked like an awful hand to begin the game with seems a lot better. And I will be able to go Lily for a full 8 cards. So retreat there, energy switch from there to there, and let's go for that Lily. Okay, so basically, if this is a hand that I could ever hope for after looking at my beginning hand, this would be it. So I'm just going to go Pokemon Communication there to grab out a Tapu Koko Prism Star. I do have the 2 Lightnings that I discarded on the first turn of the game. There's that. There's a Dawnwings Necrozma. And realistically, I don't think that she can get much going on. So I'm just going to go Invasion here, sending this Dawnwings to the active. So this is one of the great ways that I can play the deck with the Dawnwings Necrozma. And I can power up my 2 important Pokemon in this matchup, getting 2 Lightnings. So it seems like no matter what I do next turn, I'm able to get off a fresh full blitz. So on the first turn of the game, I obviously can't attack. This is the best that I could absolutely do. I realistically, from starting off the game on the first turn of the game, unless she has an absolutely stellar hand, I automatically feel like I'm winning this game at this point. So let's just go past there and see what she has to offer. Now, her setups have been pretty okay, except for the first game. Last game was amazing setup. So we'll see if she is able to get off something like a first turn, burst GX, or getting a bunch of stuff. But as of right now, with her grabbing a Dedenne, I'm assuming that her hand is probably pretty rough. Let's see what she discards. So there's a Fire and there's a Neg. I probably would have done the exact same thing in this scenario, with really no other cards available. Now she does have a supporter available to her if she was able to draw one off of the first few cards, but unfortunately it looks like she did not grab a supporter off of the Dedenne. So that's really unfortunate for her. Going in with what we have here, I probably just want to power up a PikaRom. With her discarding a Naganadel, I can assume that her deck runs either 3 or 4 Naganadel, nothing less. Let's attach an energy there for turn. Let's go Volkner. Actually, I probably want to save that Volkner. I'm going to put down a Raichu and a Alolan Raichu. I'm going to take my free retreat here, sending up a PikaRom, and I do want to try to get myself into an attack as soon as possible. So let's just go energy switch from this Raichu and Alolan Raichu up to my active. I don't really need to play an Electro Power, so let's just go Lily to draw raw 4 cards. So that's a pretty awesome hand. I'm just going to go full blitz, knockout, and attach to my active. If worse comes to worse, I can go tag switch for next turn. I do not think she's going to get out 5 energies next turn. If she does, I deserve to lose this game no matter what anyways. So let's just attach these 3 energies to my active so I can go for a turn 3 kind of tag bolt GX to get around this. Now, I'm just need to cross my fingers and hope that she just doesn't get Mew out in this case. So, sacrificing up a Vulpix, I'm assuming that means that she is just kind of agreeing with the fact that she just can't come up with anything, because Blacephalon GX does not have a way to get out of the free retreat. Now, there is a Persian GX, which is a pretty good way to get around things. Now, I do need to read Tail Wrap, so flip a coin if has a defending Pokemon can attack during your next turn. Yikes. So that was, I just want to double check here. So use its Tail Whip, it resulted in 1 heads and 0 tails for Tail Whip, and all these attacks, sometimes it's like tails or anything. So if heads, the defending Pokemon can attack during your opponent's next turn. So my Dawnwings Necrozma should be able to get around that. So that means I should be able to get around Beast Ring turn by knocking out a Vulpix and knocking out a Dedenne GX to put me at 2 prize cards remaining. So let's just try that out. Let's go Invasion here. Retreat. And I'm pretty happy again with my hand here, so I'm going to go for Tag Bolt GX, and let's knock out this Dedenne on the bench. So this is obviously me just getting an extremely quick start, shutting her off of Beast Ring on the 3rd turn of the game, putting me down at 2 prize cards remaining. And at this point, she can't really attack me with the Blacephalon GX. I just got the Thunder Mountain Prism Star out of my prize cards. So I wouldn't be, like, she can't use Bursting Burn here because I have Dawnwings Necrozma GX. If she goes for Burst GX, I think that it's just one of those things where she didn't really get much. So this is really like 2 very aggressive decks. And Blacephalon GX, it just seemed to have a poor setup in game 1 and 3, but we saw how it absolutely destroyed me in game 2. So thanks to Michelle for playing those games out. I just want to go over the deck quickly one more time before we go through it. So PikaRom, come on, let's find it. You can see that I keep very good care, like a library of decks. So this is the deck that we played around with. As you saw, it was able to win the best 2 out of 3 against Blacephalon GX. And there are other versions of Blacephalon GX there. Let's just move that back there because that makes a lot more sense. Sorry about that. Blacephalon GX is one of the best decks in the format. There are the Greens Exploration version of that deck, which other people are popularizing right now, mostly by PTCGO. So if you haven't heard of that deck, maybe check that out. But as for me, I'm really liking the normal version of the deck and the Greens version of the deck. But I'm really liking PikaRom. PikaRom is one of my top 2 picks right now for Worlds. The other one just being Blacephalon in general. Blacephalon GX, that is, because Baby Blacephalon is mostly dead. So this is exactly what we have for the deck. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you're looking to support our channel a little bit more, you can go to patreon.com/rarecandytcg to become a patron there. Maybe pick up some merch on our rarecandytcg.com website. That'd be also really cool. Rock some of that stuff. And if you're looking to follow me more on my journey, you could follow me at Zelasage Pokemon on Twitter. And like I said, thank you to Michelle for helping me play these games out and really being an opponent. It was great to play against you. You can follow her on Twitter at MichelleBabinTCG. That being said, I'm Zach Lesage signing off. We will catch up with you real soon. That's it for today.